How God restores your peace when life gets loud. Have you ever played a guitar that was just a little out of tune? Every string is still there. The melody is still recognizable. But something feels off. Each note clashes ever so slightly, turning what should be harmony into tension. It's not that the guitar is broken. It just needs to be realigned. That's what happens to the soul. We go through life trying to balance the noise, the deadlines, the messages, the opinions, the fears, and without realizing it, our hearts begin to drift out of tune with God. We still believe, still pray, still sing, but the sound inside feels strained. Peace doesn't disappear, it just loses its rhythm. And yet here is the grace of God. He doesn't throw the instrument away. He patiently tightens, loosens and adjusts, until the inner strings of your being resonate again with His heart. He's not trying to silence the noise around you. He's teaching you to hear differently, to find harmony in the middle of the sound. Because true peace isn't the absence of noise. It's the rediscovery of rhythm, the moment when your soul and His Spirit begin to move together again. Part 1. The unnoticed drift. Have you ever noticed how a guitar can slip out of tune even when no one is playing it hard? You set it down at night, it sounds fine, and by morning, something has shifted. Nothing dramatic happened. The strings simply responded to weather, tension, and time. That is how the soul drifts, not with a crash, but with a collection of almost invisible pulls that nudge us away from the steady pitch of God. It starts when the day greets us with a screen instead of a prayer. We plan to check one message, and suddenly a river of opinions carries us downstream. We fully intend to breathe slowly, but our chest grows tight without asking permission. We still believe, still love the Lord, still show up for people, yet the inner sound grows thin and slightly sharp. We are not broken, we are just out of tune. Drift happens through small agreements. I will answer every notification instantly. I will hold every family weight on my shoulders. I will solve problems that do not belong to me. I will keep my image tidy even if my heart is messy. We do not say these sentences out loud, but we live them, and each one twists the peg a quarter turn. Peace is not stolen in one moment. It is leaked by 1,000 tiny yeses. There are signs. Prayer becomes a task to finish instead of a presence to enjoy. We skim scripture the way we skim headlines. Worship songs feel like distant echoes. We feel hurry in our bones even when the room is quiet. Sleep restores the body but not the breath of the heart. The mind keeps humming after midnight, rehearsing every what if. We begin to confuse adrenaline with purpose and noise with importance. The truth is simple and kind. The soul holds a natural pitch when it rests in God. The Bible calls that rest waiting in silence, trusting that His timing does not need our panic. When we let the day set our rhythm, we drift. When we let God set our rhythm, we return. The difference is not how much we do, but which beat we follow. You do not need to rebuild your life to come back. A musician does not replace the guitar. They listen, one string at a time, and turn the peg gently until the note settles. You can do the same. Notice the tightness in your chest. Name the lie that drives it. Lay it in God's hands. Breathe slowly. Whisper a simple prayer. Father, tune me to you. It will not silence the world, but you will hear a truer sound rising within you. And that sound is the beginning of peace. Part 2. The noise within. Noise is not always outside of us. Most of it lives inside. The conversations we replay, the worries we rehearse, the invisible debates that never end. The world can be quiet and still, but our minds can be louder than traffic. That is the second drift, when the noise outside becomes the echo inside. The inner noise begins with small fears. What if I am not enough? What if I lose what I love? What if I disappoint God? These questions are like background hums. You stop noticing them after a while, but they shape every thought and every choice. They make you chase answers that never satisfy. You keep scrolling, reading, fixing, and achieving. But peace hides behind the next success that never arrives. God understands this kind of noise. Psalm 94:19 says, "When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy." He does not shout over the noise. He whispers truth underneath it. The whisper says, "You are not alone in this thought. You do not have to carry it all. You can stop trying to solve what only grace can heal." The more you listen to his whisper, the quieter everything else becomes. Some people try to escape the noise by distraction. Others try to drown it with work. But noise does not die through effort. It fades through alignment. When your soul starts to agree again with what God says, the lies lose power. The thought "I am failing" meets his promise. "My strength is made perfect in weakness." The thought "I am forgotten" meets his word. "I have engraved you on the palms of my hands." The more his truth meets your thought, the more the noise changes tone. Inner peace does not mean silence in the brain. It means a clear center that everything else moves around. Think of a spinning wheel. The rim moves fast, but the hub stays still. God wants to be that still hub inside you. The world can keep spinning. Your feelings can rise and fall, but your soul can rest at the center, steady in his presence. So when you feel restless, pause. Instead of trying to mute your thoughts, invite God into them. Say, "Lord, sit here with me in this noise," and he will. He will not force quiet from the outside. He will fill the center until everything else knows who the real conductor is. That is how peace begins to return. Not through silence, but through surrender of the inner sound to the one who knows every note. Part 3. God's gentle recalibration. When a musician tunes an instrument, they never rush. They lean close, listen carefully, and make the smallest turn until the string sings in harmony again. That is exactly how God works with the human soul. He does not fix us with force. He restores us through presence. His hands are steady, his patience endless, and his goal is not perfection, it is harmony. God does not use guilt to tune his children. Guilt tightens the heart until it snaps. Grace, on the other hand, loosens what is rigid and frees the note to rise again. In Psalm 139, David prayed, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts." He was not asking for punishment. He was asking for adjustment. He wanted God to bring every string of his inner life into alignment with truth. Recalibration often begins with discomfort. The Spirit nudges us when our rhythm is off. When we speak too quickly, compare too easily, worry too often. He does not shame us. He invites us to notice. Each conviction is not condemnation, but correction. A small twist of the peg that draws us back toward the tone of peace. You can tell when he is tuning you, because conviction always comes with warmth, never with fear. Sometimes he recalibrates through quiet moments we did not plan. You open the Bible and one verse stops you mid-sentence. You take a walk, and a single thought settles in your chest. Slow down. You sit in traffic, and suddenly remember to breathe again. These are not random pauses. They are God's hand on your soul, adjusting tension you did not know was there. The beauty of his tuning is that it happens while life keeps playing. The children still need breakfast. The emails still arrive. The news still spins. Yet somehow, amid all of it, the tone of your spirit begins to shift. Anxiety that once roared now whispers. The heart that raced now beats in rhythm with hope. Nothing outside changed, but the sound within grew gentle again. You may not even feel it at first. The change is subtle, like sunlight moving across a wall. But over time you realize you are reacting differently. You listen before you speak. You forgive faster. You rest easier. That is the sign of recalibration. It is not dramatic, but it is real. God's peace does not crash in. It hums quietly until the soul begins to sing along. So if you feel stretched, brittle, or slightly off-key, do not despair. The Master is near. He knows every note you were made to play. Let him listen, adjust, and retune. One gentle touch at a time, he is bringing your life back into harmony with his heart. And when he is done, you will not just sound better, you will feel whole. Part 4. Peace through surrender, not control. We often believe peace will come when everything finally falls into place. When bills are paid, relationships are steady, and plans work the way we hoped. But peace built on control is fragile. The moment something shifts, our calm disappears. True peace begins when we stop trying to be the conductor of the whole orchestra and allow God to lead the music. Control is the habit of fear disguised as strength. It sounds noble to say, "I just want things to be right." But beneath that sentence often hides the belief that we must protect ourselves from disappointment. So we plan, adjust, overthink, and push harder. Yet the more we grip the strings, the more they tighten, and the sound turns harsh. The pursuit of control is the fastest way to lose harmony. The Bible gives us a vivid picture in the story of Jonah. God called him to go one direction, but Jonah ran the other way. He boarded a ship, confident he could manage his own route. Then came the storm, not as punishment, but as correction. God was not trying to destroy Jonah. He was trying to tune him back to purpose. The sea only calmed when Jonah surrendered, not when he strategized. His peace returned the moment his will bent toward God's. We all have storms that rise when we fight the current of obedience. The more we insist on steering every detail, the more exhaustion grows. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving over. It is saying, "God, you see what I cannot. Lead me even if I do not understand." That prayer turns anxiety into trust. The control we lose is replaced by clarity that was waiting all along. Notice that surrender never means passivity. God does not call us to stop moving. He calls us to stop resisting. When you drive a car through heavy wind, you do not let go of the wheel. You steady your grip, but align with the lane. The same is true in faith. You still work, plan, and care, but from a place of cooperation, not domination. Peace grows when you follow God's rhythm instead of competing with it. Many people say they trust God but still rehearse every worst-case scenario. Trust is not a thought, it is a rhythm. You breathe slower, think gentler, and stop trying to prove that you can manage what only heaven can hold. When that happens, surrender becomes relief. You realize you were never meant to control the sea, only to stay in the boat with the one who commands it. So if you find yourself tightening again, trying to fix, force, or predict, pause and remember Jonah. The sea was never the enemy. The storm was not the end. It was the sound of God saying, "Let go and I will steer you home." When you surrender, peace is not something you chase. It is something that rises within you like calm water after the wind. Part 5. Harmony in motion. Peace is not a frozen stillness. It is movement in the right rhythm. Some imagine peace as sitting on a quiet beach, where nothing changes. But the peace God gives is alive. It breathes, walks, and responds. It is like a dance where every step, turn and pause, follows the unseen lead of the Holy Spirit. When you move with Him, even busy days become graceful. The Apostle Paul wrote in Galatians 5:25, "Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit." He did not say, "Sit still with the Spirit." He said, "Keep in step." That means peace is dynamic. It is not found by escaping motion, but by moving in alignment with God. The world will always spin, but the Spirit gives you rhythm within it. Think about how a dancer listens. They are not thinking about the next move. They are feeling the music and responding. When they fight the rhythm, the dance looks strained. When they relax into it, every motion looks effortless. The Spirit invites us to that kind of relationship. He does not hand out choreographed rules. He invites us to follow His lead in real time. Sometimes the Spirit's rhythm is fast. He moves us into conversations, opportunities, and acts of kindness that stretch our comfort. Other times He slows us down so we can rest, reflect, or heal. Peace comes when we trust that both speeds belong to Him. Rest and activity are not opposites. They are notes in the same song. The secret is to let Him decide the tempo. When you begin to walk in step with the Spirit, ordinary life turns sacred. The drive to work becomes a time of prayer. The kitchen becomes a sanctuary. A simple smile becomes a form of worship. You stop dividing life into spiritual and normal. Everything becomes holy ground when you move with the One who is holy. The more you notice His rhythm, the less chaos can pull you off beat. The enemy's goal is not always to make you sin. Sometimes it is simply to make you hurry. Hurry distorts rhythm. It convinces you that meaning lies in speed, that worth is proven by exhaustion. But God moves with peace. His steps are never rushed. When you feel your mind racing ahead, that is your cue to slow down and let Him lead again. Walking with the Spirit is not about perfection. Even skilled dancers misstep, but they recover because they stay connected to the lead. You will lose pace sometimes, yet grace will always pull you back. Every time you listen again, peace returns like the sound of soft music under the noise. Harmony in motion means you no longer chase balance as an achievement. You live it as a relationship. The Spirit sets the rhythm. You respond. You stumble, He steadies. You pause, He waits. That is how peace lives. Not as silence, but as movement, perfectly timed with divine love. Part 6. The Rhythm of Rest. Rest is not what happens when you finish everything. It is what happens when you finally stop trying to be everything. Many people think rest means doing nothing. But real rest is the ability to do what matters without being torn apart inside. It is the moment when your soul stops running faster than your body. God designed rest not as luxury, but as rhythm. From the beginning of creation, rest was part of the design. After 6 days of forming the world, God rested, not because He was tired, but to set the pattern for life. Rest was never about exhaustion. It was about completion. It declared, "The work is done enough for today." That same declaration still restores peace to every anxious heart. Rest is the reminder that we are creatures, not creators of our own universe. Isaiah 30:15 says, "In quietness and trust is your strength." Notice the connection. Strength is found not in effort, but in quiet confidence. When we rest in God, we are not being lazy. We are aligning with truth. We are admitting that outcomes do not depend solely on us. This kind of rest requires faith, because the world around us rewards motion, but motion without meaning drains the soul. God invites us to a slower, deeper rhythm, the rhythm of dependence. Spiritual rest begins with permission. Permission to stop scrolling. Permission to stop explaining. Permission to say, "That can wait, but my soul cannot." The Sabbath was never meant to be a law that binds. It was a gift that frees. It teaches us to remember that we are not defined by what we produce. We are defined by the one who holds us even when we pause. Rest also repairs our perception. When life moves too fast, we stop seeing clearly. We react instead of respond. But when we slow down in God's presence, details return: the sound of wind through trees, the kindness in someone's eyes, the verse we've read 100 times but never truly heard. Peace grows in the soil of awareness, and awareness grows only where hurry dies. There is a reason Jesus often withdrew to quiet places. He was not escaping responsibility. He was restoring alignment. The Son of God took time to breathe, to pray, to listen. If he needed that rhythm, how much more do we? Rest is not for the weak. It is the training ground of strength. It is where the soul learns that silence is not emptiness. It is space where God speaks. When you rest in Him, you start to notice how life moves differently. The same world that once felt sharp becomes softer. You make decisions slower, but with more clarity. You worry less because you remember. Who is steering? Rest gives back what hurry steals: perspective, gratitude, and joy. It teaches the soul to hum again in a calm, steady tone. So take a breath, lay down the weight you were never asked to carry. The world will not fall apart if you pause for a moment, but your heart might if you don't. Let God set the tempo. Let His rhythm of rest guide your days. You will find that peace is not hiding from you. It was simply waiting for you to slow down enough to notice it. Part 7. Living tuned to God. When a musician finishes tuning an instrument, they do not put it back in the case. They start to play. In the same way, God does not tune your soul so you can live in silence. He tunes you so that your life can make music again. Peace is not the end of the story. It is the environment where purpose begins to sing. Living tuned to God means carrying inner harmony into daily life. It is when patience replaces reaction, when gratitude quiets complaint, when confidence grows without arrogance. You still feel the tension of living in a noisy world, but you are no longer controlled by it. You are tuned, and a tuned heart changes the sound of everything it touches. The first sign of a tuned heart is awareness. You start noticing when something pulls you off key: a bitter thought, an anxious scroll, an unnecessary argument. Instead of spiraling, you pause and breathe. You whisper, "Lord, bring me back." That small prayer realigns the soul faster than any deep explanation. Every return to awareness is another moment of tuning. The second sign is gentleness. When your heart rests in God, you stop forcing others to match your expectations. You stop judging their rhythm and start trusting God with their process. You listen more, defend less, and find peace not in control but in compassion. Gentleness is not weakness. It is the echo of a heart that knows it is safe. The third sign is endurance. A tuned life does not mean easy days. Strings that make music still feel tension. They are stretched just enough to carry sound. God allows the right amount of tension to keep you sensitive to His touch. When hardship comes, you remember this tension is not destruction. It is design. It keeps your spirit responsive to His hand. Living tuned to God also means staying humble. Instruments go out of tune again over time, and so do hearts. The goal is not to stay perfect, but to stay responsive. Each day you wake, you let God listen to your heart and adjust what drifted overnight. It takes seconds to pray. "Lord, set my tone before I speak." That prayer is a spiritual habit that keeps life harmonious. As this becomes your rhythm, peace stops being an occasional feeling and becomes a daily presence. The loud world keeps playing its clashing chords, but you are no longer trying to silence it. You are playing a different song, a song of trust, surrender, and joy. The people around you will notice. They may not understand why you seem calm when others panic, but what they hear is the sound of a heart aligned with heaven. To live tuned to God is to become an instrument in His hands. You do not decide the melody, but you participate in it. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, every quiet prayer is a note. Together they create a symphony of peace that the world desperately needs to hear. And the more you live in that harmony, the clearer it becomes. Peace is not something God gives you once. It is something He plays through you every day. Conclusion. Peace was never meant to be rare. It was meant to be the natural sound of a soul that remembers who conducts the music. The world around us will always hum with noise, opinions, deadlines, fears, and endless expectations. But God's purpose was never to remove the sound. It was to teach us how to live in tune with Him inside it. Maybe your life right now feels like an instrument stretched too tight. You've tried to stay calm, to pray, to keep faith, yet the tension only seems to grow. If that's you, take heart. The same God who created rhythm and silence also created you. He knows how to retune what life has pulled out of pitch. He is not angry with your noise. He wants to bring music out of it. Let Him listen to your heart. Let Him touch the places that ache. He knows which strings need loosening, which ones need to be strengthened. It may take time, but every adjustment brings a clearer tone. You are not broken. You are being tuned. You are being shaped into something that can carry peace wherever it goes. And when He finishes, you will not just feel calmer, you will sound different. Your words will comfort instead of cut. Your presence will settle rooms that used to overwhelm you. People will feel something holy when they're near you, because they will hear the echo of His peace through you. That is what happens when a human life aligns with the heart of God. So breathe. The noise of the world may not stop, but it no longer has to rule you. The Creator who spoke stars into harmony is still speaking into your soul. Listen. Let His rhythm take over. Let His peace become the sound that fills your days. And as you walk back into the noise, remember this truth. The world may be loud, but the voice of God within you is louder.